Well, let's kick off. As Chris Bowen keeps on insisting we're going to have electric utes, yeah, right, we're going to have electric cars left, right and centre, he clearly can't read, or he doesn't have someone doing his media for him, because all around the world, car companies and everybody else is abandoning electric vehicles. But no, Chris Bowen's charging us, oh, let's go straight into electric vehicles. Apple, James, has scrapped its EV plan after a decade.
So they've spent God knows how much money they've tried to create an Apple electric car, which I suppose would be like, an Apple iPhone that just sort of suddenly, when you hit 30% charge, just runs out of gas completely. You can only imagine how much fun that would be, having to stop and restart the whole thing again on the highway because, it's suddenly gotten stuck. No, they're not doing it anymore. So they've said, no, we're just going to tear up all that money. So that's all done. Also, interestingly, too, we've had another backflip on the EVs this week because Audi.
Yep. Last week it was Mercedes.
And we've seen Toyota was one of the first on this to say, oh, no, we're actually going to keep on building internal combustion engines. And this whole plan that they're going to phase out all of their petrol cars, all their diesels by 2026. That's not happening. So Chris Bowen needs to go and, as you say, Rowan, read the room, read the papers, maybe, and see what's going on around the world. The idea that somehow Australia, that we're all going to go all electric when the rest of the world has decided, no, we're actually going to have a mix. Let the market, let consumers decide, which is not part of the Chris Bowen plan because they want to force or nudge you into buying what you don't want. Well, sorry, it's not happening.
Rita?
And I was speaking to someone who works in the car industry, an expert in this area, and they said there's an EV battery cliff coming where the EVs that were originally purchased, they're coming out of warranty. And these cars, in this person's opinion, are pretty much worthless because once you don't have that warranty, if you need to replace that battery, the batteries, depending on the model, can cost $30,000, $40,000. I think in the best case scenarios for some of the cheaper options, it might be $14,000. So a significant cost. And who's going to take that risk on to buy a second-hand EV? So again, they haven't thought ahead about what this means because
you know what this is, Rita? This is like all communists. And let's face it, Albo was a communist or empathised or sympathised with communists in his youth. Communists believe if they just keep regulating it and regulating it and regulating it, they ignore reality, they ignore the market, what's going on. Oh, let's put in more rules, more subsidies, the taxpayer will pay this, that and that. They think they can defy reality and make something happen. It's not going to happen. The market has already clearly showed EVs ain't going to happen. So we're pushing uphill. We're at the what Paul Keating described as the rear end of the world, and we're thinking that what's happening in the rest of the world isn't going to hugely impact us, James. The world has moved on from this stuff, and we're still flogging this particular horse. This is why Dutton's going to win the next election, because these clowns can't actually realise what they are pushing Australia into, the madness of this net zenus, as we said.
But
yes, Rita?
One thing we should point out, the Liberals' current policy right now
still net zero.
Net zero.
They've got to abandon net zero.
So
go nuclear, abandon net zero. That's the way to go. Yep.